The Worst Podcast Ever can also be listened to on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many more. Links in the description below. This podcast is brought to you by Sean's Dry Rub. When you're looking to spice up those sausages this summer, Sean's is the way to go. Sean's Dry Rub. It's a Massachusetts classic. Hey everybody, what is going on? It is episode 36. I think. I'm pretty sure it's episode 36. I can't keep track. Not like there's 100 here, but, 36 is up there. We're getting up there. Hey everybody, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Summer is coming to an end, and, this may, a lot of people may disagree with what I'm about to say, but yay, I'm not a big summer guy. And which is funny because I like working out in the yard, but not when it's hot. This summer, it was hot. And, when it's like hot and humid, this whole summer has been a banner year, at least in the Chicagoland area. And I think a lot of areas too. But man, I'm always, my favorite part of the season, and I might have said this last year, is the fall. But this year, more than any other time, I'm really looking forward to the fall because, brother, you can have this hot crap, That's why I don't understand, like, people around here are like, I'm done with the winters. I'm going to move down to Florida. Why? Why would you move down to Florida? It's hot and humid. Now, if you're going to live on the beach, yeah, okay. Maybe. But even then, they got hurricanes and stuff down there, and people are like, well, in your area, you guys have tornadoes. Yeah, every super great once in a while, and it's very hit or miss. No pun intended. But, yeah, we get tornadoes around here. But ones that actually come around in this particular area are very, very far and few between. Years, okay? You get one of those hurricanes come through down there, and it's like the whole state's underwater. Anyway, I don't know. To each their own, I guess. But, yeah, the summer's over. My son just went back to school today. Yay! It feels like we just got over school last year, and they're going back already. I don't know if that's just me. Maybe it was because it was so hot and we were inside for most of the summer that, I don't know, it just feels like it was 2 seconds and gone. Which is really interesting. We didn't really go on a vacation this summer either. We went up to Michigan for a weekend, but our actual main vacation's not coming until October, and we're going back to Disney World. So we're going to see how that turns out. I might actually do a video of our time at Disney. I don't know if people would like that, but it's the proverbial, here, let us show you our slideshow from our vacation, which nobody cares about. So, well, guys, I hope that the end of your summer is going well, that the kids getting back to school is going well, if you're the ones that are going back early, like around here seems to be. But I've had things going on here too. Namely, one of the big things is I went to Mo Game Con, and if you are subscribed to my channel, which by this point, if you're listening to this, you really should be, then you know that I went to Mo Game Con because I had my recap video and my pickups video. They're all one and the same. And that was really fun. Mo Game Con has turned it's kind of taken a different life of its own over the years since I went there. Since I've started going. And I want to say that this was my fourth time going. I always get mixed up because of that year we didn't go. Or was it 2 years? I want to say it was 1 year. It was during the pandemic, obviously. I think. And, well, I know one of them was during the pandemic. I can't remember if there was 2 years. Anyway, it don't matter. I think this was my fourth time going. And, the first time I went, I didn't know anybody. I met the guys from Gaming Off the Grid. They were the first guys that I had met going into a con, period. And then from there, now I'm staying in an Airbnb with them and a whole bunch of other YouTubers, Captain Algebra, Chris Pico, the old ass gamer, Sean 8-Bit Glitch, Tom and Lacey from Do You Nerd, and then Peter from Waves and Games. I'm sorry, Peter. I was trying to remember your name. I kept wanting to call you Chris for whatever reason. But me and names, and then just other people and other people coming into the Airbnb just to hang out, because really the convention's only on Saturday, but we've made it more of a 2-day thing, and even a 3-day thing if you do any hunting on the way home, which I'll be honest with you, I never do, because it's just cornfields all the way down and all the way up. There are some bigger towns, but I mean, by the time I get there, I just want to get home, because chances are we've been doing a little bit of drinking the last couple days, and I'm 44 and not in the best shape. I don't recoup from nights of drinking like I used to. And I don't know if I just don't want to do it anymore because I did it enough in my 20s, or if it's just I'm old AF now and I just can't handle it. I have a feeling that it's both. I don't know. Probably both. But yeah, so that's what that is. Sorry here, I gotta adjust the sound here. I want to make sure I'm not blowing out your ears. Anyway, the convention was great. It seemed like there was a lot more people there this year, and they stayed a lot longer. Because last year, it seemed like there wasn't as many people, and I'd say about noon, everyone decided to, it just clear out. Once lunch hit, it just wasn't a lot of people. And, it is what it is. You're coming out of COVID, and things are just opening back up. People are just trying to get comfortable with going out, going back to these things. And so it's understandable. The fact that a lot of these conventions made it through and are still going is amazing. And this is a great bounce back. This year, this is the second con that I've been to. Two cons I go to. The Milwaukee, the Midwest Gaming Classic, which was in May. I want to say the beginning of May, end of April, which had a huge bounce back. Even though we had gone to it in last November, but then they had it back in their normal time, and that thing was just crazy. How much that thing came back better than ever. And then now Mo Game Con kind of following the same suit, coming back better than ever, which it seemed like more vendors. It seemed like more people coming out. So that's great. And next summer, I am going to try and put another convention in there. There's one that's relatively close to me here. It's like a couple hours away, and it's just a day. It would be a day thing where I just go and then come back, went and stay the night. Because sometimes that's hard when you have a family, and I work every other weekend. So if that's my weekend off, that's, now that's 3 weekends where I'm not with my family on the weekends. So, and they miss me. Maybe, I don't know, but it was great. We had a good time. The night before, we went to Two Plumbers, which is a barcade down there in the St. Charles area there, which is by St. Louis. And, that place is always fantastic. Great beers in there, great old school games. Always have a good time when we go there. And then, the night after the convention. So the convention during the day and then that night was fantastic. There's a whole bunch of people came over, joined us. We had our 100-pack of sliders out and about. That thing was large and in charge, just wrecking people. But that seems to be a thing now. It didn't wreck me nearly as much as I thought it was going to, but I got to be honest with you. There was a incident on the way home to where said McDonald's, where I stopped to go to the washroom, they did have toilet paper. Barely. Which the cleanup was not 100%. They had no more toilet paper, no napkins, no nothing. So that wasn't too much of an issue, but could have gone better. Live and learn. Gonna have to throw something in the car just to make sure next time. But yeah, and the convention was great. I just want to take this opportunity to, and I don't know their names offhand, but the guys that put together and run Mo Game Con, thank you guys. Thank you guys for all the hard work that you guys do and that you put into running that con. Because I can't imagine what amount of work and stress it must be. And to see that all come together the day of, it's just great. A great time. Thank you guys for doing that. Well, we got some things to talk about. We're going to talk about two shows coming out. Actually, one is tomorrow on Disney Plus. Well, it would be. This is coming out on, what is today? I'm recording this on Wednesday, so this will come out on Thursday. She-Hulk drops on Thursday, and that's on Disney Plus. And coming out in soon to be in September, Andor, I want to say Rebel Moon, which is Star Wars, based off of Andor, the character that was in Rogue Squadron. Now you're going to say, well, but he died. Yeah, he died. And this is, the story, I guess, of him becoming a rebel, getting drafted in. At least that's what it looks like. This thing looks awesome. And me and prequels, we talked about the prequels last time, with the Star Wars, and I had to hear shit all weekend when I was in Mo Game Con from Sean 8-Bit Glitch, and then of course Captain Algebra, had to run the mouth. Those poor guys. I feel like I should have a GoFundMe page for those guys to buy a Clue when it comes to Star Wars. You know what I mean? I'm just joking, guys. But really, kind of not. Anyway, guys, it is hopefully going to be a positive thing with that. So we're going to talk a little bit about, what I think those are going to be and maybe some of the specifics here. I want to talk about gaming franchises that are successful and some that aren't, and why maybe that is. And, I could talk about, a lot of it. I picked some of like about 4 franchises that I just, kind of got me thinking when I was at the convention. And you're going, what do I buy? And do I have this? And do I have that? And what have I really played? And then it just, I don't know, on the way home from the convention from Mo Game Con, I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, what franchise has really just kept it rolling for multiple generations of consoles, and what does that look like? So we're going to kind of talk about that. We're also going to talk about, really quick at the end, there's a game in development, and it's very unique. And that's all I'm going to say right now. So you got to stay tuned to see what we're going to talk about here at the end. It's every once in a while there comes along a headline where I'm like, wait, what? and then I got to click on that article and see what it is. I mean, sometimes I just love the things that we like to put together as far as gaming goes. So, all right. So I really do like Disney Plus. I'm a fan. I know that, we just learned that they're going to raise the prices. I mean, water wet means surprise, surprise. And I love Disney Plus, and I think that they do put out good content, like their original content. Not everything's been great. I mean, and that goes for Marvel and Star Wars as well. Not everything has been great. And, it's run the gamut. I mean, of stuff that I really enjoyed, stuff that I didn't enjoy, and then in the middle where it's like, nah, okay. In Star Wars has been more of in the middle, really liked what they did with Mandalorian, and I know I'm just kind of beating the dead horse, but and then Kenobi and Boba Fett were right smack dab in the middle. Actually, Boba Fett's on the lesser side just because, well, I'm not going to rehash that. I mean, you guys all know what I'm going to say about that. So, we have something called Andor Rebel Moon coming out. And when I first heard about it, I was very I don't know, especially after the last couple things. Like Kenobi, I wasn't that crazy about. I mean, I did like it, but I wasn't man, I just want to sit down and watch it over and over again. So, and then, after Boba Fett, now I'm just kind of okay, I'm going to watch it. It's Star Wars. I love Star Wars. The good Star Wars, guys. The good stuff. When it does happen. Occasionally it does happen. And I got to be honest with you. Every trailer they put out for this show looks like this thing's going to fucking be awesome. Every time I watch one of these trailers, I'm like, fuck, man. Look at this thing. It looks like they're killing it with this. And I'm excited. I really am excited. There's a couple reasons why I'm excited. Number one, I'm really excited because it looks like it's going to be amazeballs. Okay. And two, Disney is finally coming out with a show that's not just fucking 6 episodes. Because all these shows that are just been short as hell, and that's the thing, they'll have good shows that come out, but then you get to that 6th, 7th episode and you feel like they got to cram everything in, or 8 episodes, because that's really not that long. And it's just look, why don't you just make as many episodes as you need to make to be able to finish the story, where it doesn't feel like, those dumbasses that were writers for, Game of Thrones that just rushed through season 8 so they could get out of there. Anyway, but they're coming out with 12 episodes here, which I was just oh my God, thank you. Thank you. Now that doesn't, none of this means anything. It doesn't mean that it's going to be good. The trailer doesn't mean, for all we know, the trailer might be as good as it gets. But it does make me hopeful and happy that at least, they're going to have a little bit more time to develop the storyline, to hopefully bring it to a conclusion, however it may be. But guys, that's great. Oh my God, that is so great. So we're going to see. Because they're going to have some characters in there. Mon Mothma looks like she's in there. It looks like a movie. It's so well done, at least in the trailer. So we're going to see. I don't know. Knock on wood, hopefully. And that comes out in September. I didn't write down the day it comes out, but I do know that it comes out in September. And then we have She-Hulk that comes out. As you guys are listening to it, it should have dropped today, August 18th. And I think it's called She-Hulk Attorney at Law. And when I seen the first trailer for this, I was like, what? That's so stupid. I'm going to be honest. I totally was not interested. No, that's just dumb. And what, and I didn't realize, well, I did realize, I did know that it was a comic and that this was a thing. But I'm like, why do we need this? I'm like, why do we need this? And I'll be honest with you, as time has gone on, and I've seen other trailers, I'm interested. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow, or today, as you're listening. It looks like it could be okay. I'll be honest with you. I'm nowhere near as excited about this as Andor, but I'm gonna give it a try. It's 8 episodes, which is better than 6, but 8 episodes is still not that much. But I mean, I don't know what the storyline, so maybe whatever storyline they're gonna have, see, and that's the problem here though, with it only having 8 episodes. When you have a small amount of episodes, sometimes by the time you get everything set up, like, hey, this is what happened, this is how she got to where she is, and why she is, and what's going on in her life, and by the time you do that, sometimes you're already 2 episodes in, or you did it in 1 episode and you did it really fast and rushed, right? But irregardless, either which way, now if you did it in the 2 episodes, now you're down to, you're only down to what was it, 8? So 6 episodes. So now you gotta, bring in, the protagonist and get that rolling and what's going on with that, and then the ups and downs of that, and then you gotta wrap it up at the end. Sometimes 8, I mean, especially if you're bringing in a new character. Now, like when they did the Falcon and Winter Soldier, you already knew those characters. You knew that universe. And not that you don't know the universe of She-Hulk, but you don't know her. So you don't know her, what's going on with her. With the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you had an idea of what was going on with them. Even though that still felt rushed as well. But, I mean, it kind of feels like Disney is stuck in the middle part with these shows that they want to do. And I'm not fully on board with that. And I don't know how other people are seeing that as well. I'm an old school guy. I love me some Next Generation, some Star Trek. I love Voyager. I love DS9. Heck, I have been going back through Stargate SG-1 all over again. I fell in love with that show all over again. And I want to know where those shows are at. Shows like that. That's what I want to see. I want to see my science fiction with developing characters so I care about them and coming up with individual stories that underlie a broader, bigger story, that have a full season and not these little mini series. And don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with these mini series if that's what they want to do, but I'm really feeling like we're missing a part of science fiction. I don't know. I mean, I don't need everything to be, a special effects, extravaganza. Give me those 40-minute long episodes of great writing and storytelling and me invested in these characters. Where is that at? I don't know. I mean, because the new Star Trek, it kind of gets there, but not really. Everything's flashy. That's all we want. I want the storytelling. I want the good writing. I don't need special effects to make up for that. And I think that's a lot of what I'm having problems with a lot of these new shows. And that's why when I see that Andor is coming out with 12 episodes, while that's still not a long season, or what I would call a full season, that's still, compared to what we've been getting, great. And I'm really hoping that we're going to get a taste of that. Now, this is going to be different because we already know kind of what goes on, or we know what direction it's going to, because again, it's a prequel. But my hopes are that one day, like Star Trek or Stargate is going to get their asses together, or their heads out of their collective asses, and start doing shows like they used to. I mean, Stargate's not doing anything. They're just, I don't know. They have a huge fan base. And they were just like, after Stargate Universe, they're like, nah, fuck it, right? Or maybe it's something with the rights. I don't know. Did MGM lose the rights? Or are they in limbo? I don't know. Can somebody answer me that? I don't know. If anybody knows, leave a comment down in the comment section below. Because I would love to. And I know I'm kind of getting off topic here, but I thought that Stargate, when I went back, would be dated. And if you go back to like the first 2 seasons, it is kind of dated. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, that's one of those things with back in the day, in the late 90s, early 2000s, when you would get a new sci-fi show, you know, the budgets weren't there at the beginning. So, you know, the special effects were either sparse or not super great. It's a TV show, and you know, once you got into that stride and they realize, hey, you know, this is caught on, and then you get to that like 3rd or 4th season, then the budget kicks up, and all of a sudden you're getting more eye candy. But by that point, the show's been carried by the good writing and the good storytelling. And that's why people keep coming back to it. Because now they're invested. Not only are they invested in the characters, but now they got the cherry on top. Chef's kiss. You get the better special effects. And then it all comes together and takes you home to hopefully, which is a great run. And as far as Stargate SG-1, that was 10 seasons. And they did it with changing the main characters out multiple times, and didn't skip a beat. So, I mean, that's why we have I think it's the only show I have all seasons on DVD. And I'm probably going to be working on getting my Star Trek Next Generation and DS9 on Blu-ray here pretty soon. But that, you know, that's always a little bit on the pricey side. So anyway, Andor and She-Hulk, you know, do I think they're going to be good? I don't know. I hope they're going to be good. I think Andor is going to be good. She-Hulk, roll of the dice. You know, I think that's going to be either really dumb or it's going to be hit or miss with people. You know, I don't think it's going to be bad. I mean, Marvel, I'd be really shocked if Marvel made something just blatantly bad at this point. I mean, I give them the benefit of the doubt because, I mean, they've earned it. They definitely have earned it over everything that they put out there. Like I said earlier, you know, when I go to the gaming conventions, I'm always overwhelmed. It's hard to know what you want to pick up. And my head's always in a whirlwind, especially for that first hour, about, whoa, what am I going to get? What should I get? You know, and even if I write down a list of what I'm going to get, I still just, you know, I mean, there's so much stuff. And on the way home, as I decompress, because it's like a 4.5 hour ride home for me from St. Louis. And, you know, my mind just starts wandering and thinking like, hey, you know, I'm like, you know, sometimes I kind of want to stay away from the well-known franchises and get into those ones that might be hidden gems or whatever. But it's like, but a lot of these franchises that you keep coming back to, they're just so good. But and then you're just thinking, have they always been that good? I mean, have there been bumps in the road along the way? I mean, overall, are they still good, or did they kind of fall off? And I just want to talk about some of the franchises here that just went through my mind, and probably go through all of our minds as far as gamers, either new or old, on it's in some way every week, because I mean, these are some pretty big names, and we're going to start off with, I mean, the biggest name. I mean, at least as far as I'm concerned, and that's Super Mario Brothers. And I kind of went back and forth on how I wanted to handle them, because you have Super Mario Brothers, like actual games, and then you have like the Mario name where he's put into other games. It might not be like his game, you know what I mean? But he's in there, and I'm kind of stay away from that a little bit, because that's not really what I would consider like that character, that franchise's game. But I mean, you got to look at like the road that he has gone down. I mean, now I'm not going to start with him being in Donkey Kong, or because that's not really his game, and Super or Mario Brothers, which was that arcade game, which was kind of the beginning for them. But when they really made their bones was the original Super Mario Brothers side scrollers, which was the beginning of my love and my absolute infatuation with side scrollers. And then they came out with the second one, which we've talked about that at length in videos and on this podcast. And then the third one, which just was phenomenal. And you had 3 consecutive games that just were made him the name. Now it also probably helped that when Super Mario Brothers first came into it, was when the gaming market was reinvigorated by Nintendo, and Super Mario Brothers had a lot to do with that, because it was a game that was easy to play, it was fun to play, and it was very enjoyable as far as the controls. And that coming off of what Atari 2600 had done, the good with the bad, but unfortunately the bad was the stuff that just tanked the video game industry. Here you had Super Mario Brothers, Mario coming in and pretty much setting everything straight. And then following it up with 2 fantastic sequels. And then you had the Super Nintendo and Super Mario World, which, I mean, I don't know if that's the pinnacle as far as a side-scroller Mario game. And if it's not, it's super close, because there's the Super Mario Wii U Deluxe or whatever that's on the Wii U and the Switch that I really like too. That I think is just a super fun and great game. But I would have to say that the Super Mario World on the NES, or the Super NES, I'm not going to say SNES. So if you guys were waiting for that, you can go piss off. I don't do that. And I don't say shmups either, in case you're wondering. Anyway, but yeah, Super Mario World, I mean, you had the upgraded graphics, you had the map again, just everything, the sound, everything was just like as it should be in that game. When you want to make the best side scroller game you can, you come out with a game like that. And then you had Super Mario World 2, which it was okay for me. I mean, it's a great game. It's a great game. It's not my favorite. I don't know why. It's just, if I'm going to go back to a game, I go back to Super Mario World. And another thing that they did is they came out with Super Mario Brothers All-Stars, which which was a cartridge on the Super Nintendo, and it had the 3 original games upgraded into new sound, 16-bit graphics, and then they put the actual Japanese Super Mario Brothers 2, which was supposed to be the sequel over here too, but then they called it the Lost Levels on that All-Stars cart, which, you know, is I still prefer playing them on the 8-bit versions, but it is really cool to play those in those original 3 and 16-bit. I'm not gonna lie. So you know, already you're going through 2 generations of consoles, and it's just knocking it out. And then you get to the 64, Nintendo 64, and this is where people are divided. I really enjoy Mario 64. I know there's a lot of people that don't. They just don't think it's a great game. And I get that. I get it. Mario went 3D, and that's hard, especially that generation. The 64 and the PlayStation 1, that generation was just hard because everybody was expecting everything to go 3D. So that's what they did. I got to be honest with you. I love that game. I do. I played the hell out of that game back in the day. Is a big reason why I like that game so much because of nostalgia? Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I pick that game up today, I don't know. I was going to say if I picked that game up as a kid today, but that's not really fair because, you know, when you're judging it by today's standards, I mean, there's a lot of games that I love that aren't going to hold up today. But I think it still does. I mean, I love playing it on the Switch when they came out with it redone in HD. It's a great game. I do like that game a lot. Then you had Mario Sunshine. It's a good game. Wasn't, you know, my favorite. That's when I kind of fell off from the Mario games. Because like I said, I'm a side-scroller guy. You know, I mean, if you want to go back to 64 too, and I will say, I mean, do we throw Mario Kart in there? I don't. Great game. I'm not saying anything about it, but as far as the franchise goes, as far as just having it be a Mario game, I mean, just so you guys know, that's why I'm not including it in on there. But I mean, you know, you had Mario Sunshine, then you had, you know, Super Mario, was it Galaxy and Galaxy 2, and I didn't really play those games all that much because I didn't have a Wii right away. I didn't have a GameCube, so like even the Sunshine, I didn't play until later. And you know what? They're fine. They're fine. I actually prefer, I think, the Galaxy games a little bit more than I do the Sunshine. But 64 is still my jam. It's still my jam. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Look, all these people that are hating, if you were there when the 64 first came out, and you're saying right now that you never liked Mario 64, you're lying. Because everybody thought that thing was cool as shit. Everybody thought it was cool as shit. So if you were old enough to have one and to play one when it first came out, you thought Mario 64 was cool. Okay, let's, you can be Debbie Downer all you want, but we know what the score is here, guys. You know what I'm saying? You liked it. But then you come into, present day, and, there's a million Mario games out there. But that one that's on the Mario, Super Mario U Deluxe. I love that game. That's a great game. And it just takes it back to, the old school Mario. Pretty close. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. But what I really enjoy, and my son loves this game, is Bowser's Fury. When that came out, like 2-3 years ago now? 2? I really enjoy that game. That is so relaxing. It is such a wonderful and enjoyable game. It doesn't beat you down, but you have to practice on some of those puzzles. I really enjoy the game. It's a wonderful game. And it to me that feels like, okay, you had the Mario 64. Okay, you had a problem with that. Okay? And then you went from Sunshine, and then you went, to the Galaxy games as far as Mario in 3D, and now you come to Bowser's Fury. And I know there's other, the 3DS game or whatever, whatever. Those are great games too. But then you come to Bowser's Fury. And we're going to get to Odyssey. Don't you worry. And it's so delightful. And I put Odyssey in there too, because now you got Odyssey. And that's more of a true line, I would say, Mario game. The next progression. Bowser's Fury is kind of, more of a kid's game, I would say. It doesn't feel like it's like super difficult. Like you really need to have that much skill to play it. But it is a wonderful game, and I love just sitting down and playing like 15 minutes of it, because it's just so refreshing. And I love finding a game to where I can do that, because like I said, and I've said this before in a lot of my episodes, part of the reason why I don't do a lot of modern gaming is because I don't like sitting down and playing long games. I like, let me sit down for, 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, get my fix, and then I move on. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with modern games and that long play. And I still play those games here and there as well, because they are fun. I get it. But yeah, Bowser's Fury, as far as anything that's happened recently outside of Odyssey, I love that game. Okay, so I just gave Mario all this attention, all this love, and of course we got to look to the other side. We got to look to the Sega, and we get Sonic. And Sonic's my boy. I love Sonic. I really love Sonic. But Sonic hasn't had the legs like Mario's had. And I wish it did, but it just hasn't turned out that way. But you can't deny the first three, or I should say four, because I'm going to throw Sonic CD in there, which I absolutely love Sonic CD. In fact, one of my favorite game, when I put a list together of maybe like my top 5 favorite games, Sonic 2's on there and Sonic CD. Out of 2 of the top 5. I love those games. Sonic 2 is a masterpiece. Okay? I will put that up against, Super Mario World any day. And you know what I just said about Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. I love Sonic 2. I mean, it's when you do everything right. Again, great game. I love Sonic CD. Sonic CD is not a perfect game. Okay? But it is a great game. The sound is phenomenal. And, that was one of the times where they took and made a side scroller. They just expanded on what they had done previously with Sonic, and they were with that CD now, that CD format, they were able to do better music, do better sound. I go back every year and play that a handful of times. And Sonic 2. That's not to say anything about Sonic 1 is bad. Sonic 3, Sonic 3, I've never played that much. I played it, compared to other games, a fair bit. But, compared to 2 or 1 or Sonic CD, it's the lesser for me. Anyway. And then you had Sonic Mania that just came out not too long. Well, now it's been like 5 years, I guess. Which was basically a love letter to everything that came out originally with Sonic. And then you can also include what came out on, just the regular Master System. And, for that matter, the Game Gear, because the Game Gear was that those two games, I think, were pretty much the same game when it came down to it. Unfortunately, unlike Mario, that seemed to over time find its feet as far as going into the 3D realm, Sonic really didn't. I mean, they had those Sonic Adventure games that were on the Dreamcast that are they're just okay. I mean, they're just okay, and I don't know what else to say about that, really. I mean, I know there's been other Sonic games, but and they're very, in my opinion, they're very unmentionable. You know what I mean? It's just like, and that's the question I kind of pose here on this. Mario was able to go into that 3D realm. Whether or not you liked Mario 64, eventually, he found his legs. I mean, because Odyssey is a goddamn masterpiece. I mean, as far as Mario in 3D goes. You know what I mean? Oh, what is that? That is... That scared the shit out of me. That's what happens when you have cats deciding to get into stuff. Anywho, what were we talking about? Odyssey, love Odyssey. But, should they still continue to try and put Sonic into 3D? And I got to be honest with you, and I think everybody would agree with me. No, I don't. No, just stop. It's okay. Sonic shines. Sonic shines on the 2D platform, side-scrolling, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that people pretty much know, because they keep coming back to it. I mean, after all that stuff that they made that was in 3D, and it was kind of like, whatever, and then they came back and they did Sonic Mania, and now they have that thing that just came out or it's coming out, where it's a whole bunch of side scrollers for Sonic that I've heard is good and I've heard is bad, and I don't know. I haven't tried it yet because I'm like, I'm good with the Sonic games I have right now, but yeah, I mean, and then that's pretty much it with Sonic. I mean, and other than the fact that as of right now, Sonic, as far as going into movies, it is light years ahead of Super Mario Brothers. But they are right now making, or they might already be done making that animated Super Mario Brothers movie, where I think it's Chris Pratt is doing the voice for Mario. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. Hopefully it'll be good. That'd be great. So then we come to a third one that I always come back to, because they just have a great line of games, and they tend to always keep these games right where they need to be, and that's the Mega Man franchise and the Mega Man series, because I don't know that they've ever made really a bad game with the Mega Man franchise. Now, I'll be honest with you, I haven't ventured too far outside of anything that's outside of the side scrollers, and I know there are some things that are outside there, but I mean, as far as like the NES, the 1 through 6, I mean, yeah, you can say that this one's better than the other. Obviously, everybody's favorite is 2, and 1's okay, but I hear 1 that's always getting a lot of shit, but 1 is pretty great. I mean, it's the first one. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as the second, and the second one is flipping awesome. But I played the third, the fourth, and I just got the fifth. I've had the sixth. It's Mega Man on the NES. They're all good. Okay, personal preferences are gonna say, "Hey, I like this one more than the other one," but they're all good. And then when you get to the Super Nintendo, the same thing's there. Now, I didn't have a Super Nintendo back in the day, so I'm not as familiar with the Super Nintendo games as I am with the NES, but I have played them and they are good. I mean, who doesn't like Mega Man? And the one that I really enjoy is Mega Man 11 on the Switch. I've really enjoyed the shit out of it. It's a hard game. I put that infinite lives on there and I just go. It's a hard game, but, you got to grind through it. But it is fun. And the graphics are fun. The controls are great. The sound is great. I mean, the controls are big. Because if a game can look as good as you want it, sound as great as you want it, but if the controls are bad, if it plays like garbage, then it doesn't matter. Because trust me, I've played some games out there that looked and sounded wonderful, and God, it just kills you because you can't play them. Not this game, but it's a hard game. If you've played this game, you know what I'm talking about. You're gonna spend some time dying. And it seems like with the last two, with Mario and Sonic, you always come to the point to where hey, what about it going 3D? And Mega Man did go 3D for a hot second. They did on the PS1, they did Mega Man Legends, which was kind of a different kind of a deal there. It was 3D kind of open world for a PS1, which, back then it seemed like it was a big deal. But now when you look back, it's like really not. And it was kind of it had some RPG elements to it. And then, it's the PS1, that era. So once you go 3D, you don't have the controls like you need to over your character to be in 3D. Especially on the PS1. Unless you got the controller that came out later with the dual analog. And I don't know. I never played it with the dual analog. I just played it briefly with, the regular controller. And it could be rough. And they did do some stuff like target lock-ons there that did help, because if they didn't have that and you had to manually target your enemies, it would have been an absolute nightmare. But yeah, I think Mega Man's another one there where I was going to say better just staying in a 2D, but I think that they really could put out a great game in 3D. Now, I'm not aware of another game that came out in 3D other than Mega Man Legends. So if there is another game that came out and I'm talking out my ass here, like I know what I'm talking about, but I'm wrong, guys, let me know. Because I would love to try that game out. But as far as I know, that's the only one that came out like that. I think there's other games that are kind of like RPG games but I want to say that's on the Game Boy Advance. I could be wrong. But I want to say there was other like Mega Man games that were kind of different, but they weren't the side scrollers, they were RPGs. And that's kind of, and that's fine too. I hate RPGs, but I'm sure those were good. I don't know. RPGs. God, I hate RPGs. I'm sorry if you guys like them, but this dude doesn't. And then we come to the final one that we're going to talk about today, and which I think you just have to talk about it, which is Zelda. And, another Nintendo franchise, but, they do it right. A lot of other franchises on other systems don't. The one that I didn't mention, and this should be an honorable mention, is the Resident Evil, franchise that, is hit or miss, especially those earlier ones with the controls that are just, but at the time they were really cool, and they've tried to remake them and with varying degrees of success, but, I think Zelda is the one, and, obviously the first one is just a classic. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the first one. I'm not saying that I hate it or anything. It's just, I've always had a hard time getting into it. I never understood it when I was a kid when it came out. Now, over the years, especially lately, I've had a better appreciation, and I've been playing it, but it's still not necessarily a go-to for me. And especially the second one, Link's, I think it's just Link? Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link or something like that. I hate that game. It's a hard game, and I don't think it's a good game. I know a lot of people think that it gets dumped on because, a little bit too much, but I my personal opinion is I can remember back in the day playing it, and I hated it. I don't think it's a great game. Is it a horrible game, and is it a broken game? No, not by any means. I know it's very playable and in that, but I don't know. I just don't think it's a great game. But then you come to, at the same time, Link's Awakening, which I know was originally a Game Boy game. I never played it on the Game Boy, but goddamn, I love this game. The remake that they did for the Switch. So beautiful. Oh my God, it's a beautiful game. And it controls well. It's like it's like Bowser's Fury of Zelda for me. It's just a little quaint game that I just love it. I love the look of Link in it. It's just, I don't know. It's great. And then, and that's kind of, taking Link into 3D even more. And Zelda's going to be different than, Sonic and Mario, because he wasn't necessarily 2D from the beginning. I mean, he was, but it was kind of a 3D map that he was on in his original game. And then, Link, Zelda 2, that was kind of a side scroller a little bit. But, Link did make the transition to 3D really well. I mean, when you come to, the Super Nintendo, A Link to the Past, which is, to some people, the end all be all for classic Zelda, which, again, I haven't played a lot of it, unfortunately. I mean, I really should get back into it. But it's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful sounding game. I think if you did a top 20 retro game best of all time, I think you got to have it on there. I mean, if you're going to put one of the old Link games on there, one of the old Zelda games, you got to have A Link to the Past on there. I think that's definitely top 20, if not top 10 in a lot of people's book. Maybe not mine, and that's only because out of personal preference, not an indictment of the game by any means. Okay, had to come up for a breath there. Man, I have not been stopping here. But, but they really did do a good job, especially because the Super Nintendo one, that was kind of 3D again. It was on that 3D map. The sprites were, it was still sprites, but it was still 3D-ish, right? I guess. But when they got to the 64 where, Mario was kind of like, okay. Zelda did do a really good job of transferring over. And, that Ocarina of Time, I can remember when that came out and people just lost their lives to it because they just were locked in a room playing Ocarina of Time. And I really liked that game. I only played maybe a handful of hours of it, and then I just went on to other things. But I always mean to get back to it, and it's still, to this day, one of a lot of people's favorite Link or Zelda games. Now, one that I haven't played at all, I don't even know that I have it. I don't think I have it, is Majora's Mask, which I heard that's really good as well. So, when they made it to the 64 and they went for 3D, it seems like Link and Zelda or whatever made the transition very well. And then, of course, you come to the Switch nowadays. And, okay. So are we going to mention Wind Waker? I don't know. I've only played a little bit of it. Is it a good game? Is it a bad game? Well, I know what some people would say. I mean, yeah, I don't think most people would say it was a good game. And I'm going to say it at that. It came out on the GameCube originally, and then they did do a upgraded HD version of it for the Wii. Was it the Wii U, or did they do it, or was that for, when did it come out on? Or was that for the I don't know. I don't know what that came out. Or this the regular Wii. I don't know. Anyway, I know they did a remake of it, and it was supposed to be a little bit better. They kind of fixed what a lot of people had problems with on it, but I don't know if it really did make it a great game. I didn't really get into that game, to be honest with you. And then another game that I'm going to talk about, but I've never got into, is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which I do want to get into it. And I know this game's been out forever now. I think this winter is when I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it, and I'm going to go into it. I mean, I know that sequel to it's coming out. It's got to be coming out relatively soon, because they've been working on that thing for, it seems like, ever. And they've had trailers out for that like 2-3 years ago. But yeah, I really, everything that I've seen is like, that's what you came to. I mean, in a way, the Switch, for two of its main characters, it was like those games that came out, were the culmination of everything that they learned that was good and not so great in prior iterations of them. And that being Mario to the Odyssey, the Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Brothers Odyssey, and then, Zelda coming out to Breath of the Wild. And then them just giving us that Link's Awakening, which I just love. I love that game. I know, like I said, I'm not a big Zelda fan for whatever reason. I don't know why. I realize that the original one's a great game. That's a classic, but maybe just, I don't know. I always feel weird about that, why I'm not just a huge Zelda fan. But I'm just not a fan of that game. I will play it, and when I play it, I feel like I'm playing gaming history. But, to really say that I'm into it would be a lie. Anyway, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, we're not going to mention, the Zelda that was on the CDI, because, look, I don't think anything that came out on the CDI was great. That, and I think there was a Mario game on there too. Look, you're just going to take anything that came on the CDI. That's like Rebound partner time, We ain't going to talk about what we did after, what we did with her. You know what I'm saying? It was dirty and it was bad, and we just don't want to talk about it anymore. But yeah, that's it for that. The franchises, were they good? Are they bad? No, they're all pretty good. I mean, I would say the weaker out of all of them is obviously Sonic. If Sonic just keeps it simple and they keep back to what works, and then that's really what it comes down to. What works. Unfortunately for Sonic, the thing that makes Sonic great is the speed and well, it's the speed. That's it. He's a one-trick pony, unfortunately. And, if you're not making a 3D game that's I guess, controllable or has good controls as far as an in 3D element or environment, then I say if you can't do that, then keep it 2D. So, well, I told you that we were going to talk about something that was a little bit different here at the end. Every once in a while on my feed for either YouTube or Facebook, something comes up on there, like an article that it just catches your eye, where if it's IGN or Kotaku, and you're just like, what? Wait a minute. And you got to click on that article. So there's a game in development here. and it's called Squirrel with a Gun. And, this is going to be a very small segment because there's not a lot of information on this. Here, I actually have to bring it up on my phone here because I didn't write. I was going to write down what it said. It's going to come out on Steam, and it's a very, very it's a very much an indie game, I guess. Okay, and it is exactly what I just said. It's a squirrel with a gun, and I'm not going to put up the trailer right here because I don't know, I don't want to get dinged for copyright by putting this up on YouTube here. But if you're not, stop. Well, don't stop. Keep listening to me here because we're so close to the end here. But once we're done here, you got to go on YouTube and look at the trailer for this. It's every time I watch it, I laugh just as hard as I did the first time because God bless this guy who's the developer. What's his name? Daniel de Entremont. I hope I'm probably butchering that. I'm sorry. Sounds like a French guy or Canadian. Good people, the best people. But this is awesome. Do I want this game? Yes. It is a squirrel that's carrying around a gun. Okay, so here, this is on Steam. This is what they say this game's about. Squirrel with a Gun is a sandbox game that focuses on exploration and shooting combat. Defend yourself from random encounters with agents using various weapons. Deflect their melee attacks with exceptional timing to disarm them. Climb and jump across platforms with your natural squirrel skills. Well, I don't know what squirrel has the skill to shoot an Uzi, but as I'm reading this, clips of this are playing underneath the description, which is just cracking me up. It says, use weapons recoil to cross even greater gaps. Explore the neighborhood from a squirrel's eye view. Talk with residents of the neighborhood and help them out for goodies, or mug them for goodies. So yeah, this is Grand Theft Auto, but it's a squirrel. So here, I mean, you had this squirrel, I mean, literally running around with a handgun or an Uzi. I mean, you can't make this shit up, man. This is great. I don't know if this game is going to be good. It does not have a release date, but I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if this game is good or bad. I hope it's good. I mean, at least playable. I mean, this is like I'm hanging out with the buddies, with the guys tonight, and we're gonna have a couple beers, and we're gonna play squirrel with a gun. God bless this dude for thinking of this, and it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have a release date because it says in the release date box is like something like not yet or something, I don't know, or okay, yeah, maybe. It looks like it's pretty far along though. And it's crazy because you're looking at the trailer and it's showing like, I don't know why like secret agents are coming after you, but it shows you with a gun and you can just walk up to a random person and mug them. You can just stick them up and they'll give you their phone or whatever. And I don't know like how engrossing the storyline's going to be to play this game more than maybe 20 minutes to a half hour. But I mean, look, there are a lot of games out there that I think are absolutely goddamn the dumbest thing ever. Sorry with all the swearing, and people love them. My godson, who is just going into first grade, for the last 2 years has been on this Goat Simulator kick. And if you don't know what Goat Simulator is, and I'm probably not going to give it justice as far as my description of it, but you're a goat. And you do all these wacky things with your tongue, with whatever, but you're a goat. And it's just the same thing. You're in a sandbox world and you go do whatever. And I think you can go into space and all this other stuff. It's a goat simulator of sorts. And that's the thing. And they have games like this out there that are great. And I feel old trying to describe shit like this because I'm less like, I don't know, they got this thing out there on the Nintendo or, I mean, but it's, God love these people that make this. And, there are kids out there that eat this stuff up. They love it. I don't get it. But you know what? If I was that age, I'd probably get it. Or maybe not. Well, that's it. That's it for I mean, that's all there is to know about that. It's I guess it's going to come out at some point. But like I said, they don't have a release date for it. I think it's very low budget. Maybe one or two or three guys doing it. Or maybe it's just a one guy. I don't know. It just seemed like there was just one name on it. So who knows? But I mean, if it comes out, great. If it doesn't, what are you going to do? So, all right, guys. Well, I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up here. Getting back into the rhythm of things. Hopefully now that, my son's back in school, I'll have more time to keep these things spinning out in more of a timely fashion than, but, during the summertime, got to take care of the yard, got all that. I know I'm making excuses, but, it is what it is. I just wish I had more time to devote to this stuff, but I don't. But I love hanging out with you guys. I love talking about retro games. And this is coming into a great time of the year when the weather starts getting bad, people are staying inside, and that's when I go into my backlog here and play all the games that I haven't played yet. Yeah, right. I'm just going to play the games that I love and then still complain next year. But I need to get more games, and I haven't played the games that I have. It's like, who has that problem? Yeah, 2 thumbs, it's me. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. I hope you liked this episode. I liked it. I think it was pretty entertaining, if I do say so myself. Andor's going to be great. I am going to keep it positive. Star Wars is going to be good from here on out. I guarantee it. And if it's not, I'm blaming Sean from 8-Bit Glitch and Captain Algebra. It will be totally your guys' fault if it turns out being bad. But be sure to tune in next time because I am going to do kind of a little review and my thoughts on Prey. I did not get to it this time. I don't have Hulu. I got to sign up for Hulu so I can watch a supposedly good Predator movie now. Sean from 8-Bit Glitch and Captain Algebra both said it was good, so we can pretty much guarantee you that this is going to be the worst movie ever. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day today, tomorrow, the next day, and forever. But until next time, good night and goodbye.
This whole experience was absolutely exhausting. You people have ruined Star Trek The Next Generation for me. You are absolutely the most insufferable group of jackasses I have ever had the misfortune of spending an extended period of time with. I hope you all fucking die.